Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. I will ride with this group. Seriously, man. Please. And away we go.
Write this down.
Yes, it is.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
A Write That Down Wednesday here, the only show in America that has the stones to actually put statistics next to our predictions. It's Write That Down on Purple Daily. We also have the OG edition over on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. So we do this ×2 every week. And here's how it works before we get into things and shout out our friends at Quick Trip as well. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. Those are the statistic the season runs from Super Bowl to Super Bowl. So we are not even halfway through the 2024 Write That Down season. And listeners, if you want to be like Chad and participate as a guest listener predictor, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app. And if you want to fill your car with glorious gas, all while finding convenient items for your refrigerator, Quick Trip is a place for you, Judd.
In fact, if you want to go to their app, the Quick Rewards app, and order ahead and have curbside pickup, so you fill up the car with gasoline and then they come out and give you your stuff. I mean, Declan does that. It's fantastic. It's absolutely great. And it's a reminder, too, speaking of, lots of car trips, right? Summertime, quality gasoline guarantee. And more importantly, or just as importantly, too, make sure you fill that car up before it hits E. Don't drive near E like Declan and Phil do.
Disagree.
Make sure you're at your Quick Trip. Quarter of a tank left. You know what? Never too early to fill up with that
it's not the winter time.
Gasoline.
It's the summertime.
I know, but you're going lots of places. Your time is very, very precious. You need to get to that Quick Trip to fill up that car ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for taking it down to like 3, maybe 4 cruising.
I don't go that
miles
far.
Of cruising range.
I hate
that's
this.
great.
I would say somewhere between 10 and 15 is when I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get there. I gotta get there.
You guys are cowards. No, I'm not hopping on the freeway with like 4 miles. But if I know that, there's a gas. I got Bobby and Steve's near downtown if needed.
But this is the thing. You find a Quick Trip. You see, this is my whole point. You hunt out and find the Quick Trip so that you fill it up with the Quick Trip gasoline, so you're not stuck going to a gasoline station that doesn't provide the quality gas guarantee.
My one request for Quick Trip is if you could put one like right near the stadiums, so people. I've got a great place for you. We could go Target Center, new Target Center, whatever we're going to call it. It could be the Quick Trip Center.
Quick Trip Center.
We call it.
Actually, it could
and then
be.
we could have a Quick Trip right next door.
Yeah.
You're not wrong about that. Oh, a Quick Trip arena with a Quick Trip like station inside, right? You could get your snacks. This is a great idea. You're onto something.
Let's get it. So, okay, it's a Write That Down Wednesday here on the show.
Write this down.
Which means we hold each other accountable to start out with. Not a whole lot flying off the board on the football front this time of year. This is the absolute dead of the offseason, so we don't have, training camps coming up in less than a month. So in the absence of things coming off the board, we will highlight some things still on the board. So for Judd, you said the Vikings will be on a version of Hard Knocks within the next 2 seasons. Well, you're wrong on the first leg of this.
Correct.
It's amazing the Vikings have not been on Hard Knocks. 20 years of Hard Knocks, and we can't get a little purple. Huh?
Well, the new AFC North thing's interesting, though. That's what they're doing with HBO. The end season is the entire AFC North. So is that the next step for next year? Is it the NFC North?
And the Bears are I believe, the Hard Knocks solo team, right? For this season?
I think you're right on that. Yeah.
So here's my question. Next training camp, would it make sense for the Vikings to be the solo team with the anticipation that J.J. McCarthy is going to play?
They have so many interesting figures.
I know they
right?
do.
KOC would be interesting. J.J. McCarthy. Justin Jefferson's already being that's part of it, too, is Jefferson being on the Netflix doc. But is Jamar Chase on the Netflix doc, too?
I think so.
If that's the case, then he would be also highlighted on the AFC North edition of Hard Knocks. But let's make it happen. HBO, okay. Vikings, come on.
Agree completely. It's been too long.
Okay, I said last week Declan will bounce or airmail his first pitch at CHS Field.
Way to go, Dex. Good job.
Lollipop.
I don't care. You lobbed it, but who cares?
Yeah, you didn't.
It was a good job.
Your arm speed wasn't exactly. You weren't exactly lighting up the radar gun, but you did get it to the catcher's glove without bouncing or airmailing. So
in Declan's defense here too, I feel like you can't win unless you like if he had thrown just a heater strike. But like I feel like you bounce it, right? You airmail it, you lob it. There's critics everywhere. I thought it was a fine job.
Yeah, that's fine. My favorite was this guy is the same guy who criticizes professional baseball players for a living. You're damn right I do. You're damn right I do. That's the same guy.
I do think the fact that you allowed your brother to get in your head is disturbing, and that we didn't know about that until you confessed it to Plouffe yesterday.
Fun fact, stay tuned to the other edition of Write That Down on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd, because there will be a Brother Liam appearance on that edition today.
Oh, you're
with
rigged
another
up.
special guest, too.
Brother Liam also, when people were criticizing your form and the lack of velocity, Brother Liam was fighting the good fight in your replies.
He was being a good big brother.
Going at people.
Yes, he was.
No, I feel like what's funny is I feel like he would be the one that would hammer you the most for lobbing it in there, but it's like he's being protective. Like only he can hammer his brother,
that's
not
100%.
some random idiot on Twitter.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, good point.
So Declan takes this point from me here. Okay, listeners, nothing came off the board, so let's highlight one here from Kelly, who said Justin Jefferson will get at least 2,000 receiving yards and Jordan Addison will get at least 1,500 yards, which would mean that J.J. McCarthy is the rookie of the year by a mile, or Sam Darnold makes $40+ million on a multi-year contract next year, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If this happens, let's say Kelly is right here. 2,000 for JJ, 1,500 for Jordan Addison, and it's Sam Darnold who plays all 17 games. What do you do at the end of the year?
Oh, I think you still make the break, unless you've decided that McCarthy is woefully behind what you expected. I think the best case, okay?
I mean, you just had a guy throw for 2,000 yards to one receiver and 1,500 to another.
Let's take your question realistically. And I think the answer is the most that you could probably expect is Alex Smith's last year in KC, which as I recall was
that's not what the question.
And Alex Smith also was really good for like 7 years going into that year.
Yeah. I think he's gone. I think Sam's gone.
That was kind of a classic Judd where I give you a scenario and then you, instead of answering it, create your own scenario and then answer your own.
I don't think he's around. I think this is all an orchestrated thing. Make good contract. He'll get paid. If he does this, he'll get paid. I just don't think it's here. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, it would give me significant pause if the Vikings had a quarterback that was a top 3 overall pick that had this incredible coming out season.
Yeah.
And set records with 2 different receivers. I have a hard time saying, just let him go sign with the Giants in free agency. I don't know. But it's probably not going to happen because nothing like that's ever happened.
Conversation, though.
Okay, Declan, still on the board for you. You said there will be a new addition and a subtraction from the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. I did some Googling. This is the time of year, like June, early July, where media contracts get shuffled. All quiet so far on this front. I don't know if that means that they're all coming back or if, Terry Bradshaw is in a contract negotiation, but this one stays on the board.
I feel, and I hate to be this person, but these guys are old.
I was just going to bring this up. And Bradshaw's battled cancer.
It could be a health issue at the 11th hour. There'd have to be an addition too, by the way, but that's only half of this, but I could see that happening too.
If God forbid, one of these guys dies in week 2.
Well, the end date would be week 1 here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then it wouldn't count.
Okay.
So it would be.
Yep. End date week 1.
It would be a gruesome and terrible bad beat, but it would be incorrect.
gruesome. some bad
Yeah.
beat.
So with that, here are the season stats. Declan, 48.9% completions. I'm at 36.5. Judd, 34.5. Listeners, 33.5-ish. Judd and the listeners with 3 touchdowns apiece. Declan with 2. I have 1. All-time stats. Declan leads with a 37% completion percentage. I lead with 47 touchdowns. And again, it's a slower period for things coming off the board. So we're mostly stacking like preseason and season predictions here. But let's get guest listener predictor Chad in the mix. Chad, what's going on, dude?
How you doing? Doing well.
Making your Write That Down debut. So yeah, you've been on Ventline before. I definitely recognize a great hairstyle.
Yep.
If I do say so myself.
Only way to go.
Yeah. What's your Vikings fan background? When did you get sucked into being a fan of this team? What are your early memories?
Yeah. My first memory of a Vikings game is Darren Nelson dropping the ball on the goal line. That is the bad beat that lives with me forever. But then I also remember I was doing a show during the '98 playoffs against the Falcons. And every time I was an actor in a previous life. Every time I came off stage, I would run into the green room and listen to the radio. And I got there just in time to hear Anderson hit the game-winning kick and just be crushed for the rest of the show. So that Falcons game, bad beat, '98. Another tough memory.
What role were you playing while you were acting during the 1998 NFC Championship?
It was more of a cabaret thing. So it was singing and dancing on stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would be funny if you were, it was some like Shakespearean, he's playing Hamlet or something.
Yeah. No such good story.
It's amazing how you literally have almost every Vikings fan now who can point to an NFC title game as like the line of this is where I got hooked. And at the same time, they broke my heart.
Yeah. Yep. Because that's
it
all
can't
that
be a
has
Super
happened.
Bowl, right? Like it can't be a Super Bowl. It's got to be an NFC bleeping title game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. Chad, you're going to start us off. We'll go Chad, Judd, Declan, back to me. 3 trips around the room. The predictions must be football related or show related in some form.
Write this down.
Those are pretty much the only parameters. So Chad, what's your first prediction, man?
All right. I'm going to start off quick and easy. So write this down. Kwesi will make at least 2 trades before the start of week 1.
Oh, he does love to sneak those little, well, usually it's like he trades a draft pick for a former first rounder, but it could be the other way around because they're looking to replenish the draft capital. Nick Mullins, we've talked about. Could they get something for Booth Jr. or Scene,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I could see it being a former pick being moved as they get ready to get down to cuts, or it might be picking up a wide receiver 3 or an interior offensive line or defensive line, but he'll make a couple of moves before we get into the season.
It's a good call.
He's got to figure out which other teams fell in love with Lewis Scene at that draft a couple of years ago. And are there like 5 other teams? Well, there is no film.
Then hide everything.
There's nothing to hide. He hasn't played.
He's still as good as he was at Georgia. Don't watch his legs snapping here. Do not watch that.
But there's got to be some GM out there that, oh man, if we could just get him into our system, we could fix him. Well, 5th round pick.
The problem with Scene is you would have to have like 2 teams because I'm pretty certain he's not going to make the roster. So if I like him, I'm just going to wait unless I know that there's a second team where it's like that can pick ahead of me. It's an interesting one. And contractually,
if you wait though, maybe there's a bidding war for his services.
That's what I'm
once
saying.
He hits the wire, and you won't get him.
Well, and if they trade him, I think the other team gets his 5th-year option. Whereas if he's a free agent, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, you'd be able to pick up his because you have to make the. It's crazy that we're talking about this. His 5th-year option isn't even. You can't pick it up until next year, going into his 4th year. The Vikings might cut him a year before they'd have to decide on the 5th-year option.
I wouldn't be too concerned about that for him.
Yeah.
Write this down.
All right.
Anywho,
write this down. The Packers will sign Jordan Love to a contract this year. So at some point this year that will put him in the top 10 in the NFL for quarterbacks based on average per year. So he's still, if you guys recall, they declined the 5th-year option. They actually worked out a cheaper contract, which now is a complete bargain. And then he came through with a good season. And so I think at some point, off the record, I think it might be in training camp, he's going to sign a contract. It'll put him top 10, Declan, among quarterbacks. And that's on average per year.
Now, there is some speculation that he might actually become the highest paid quarterback average annual value because he's the next one in line and the cap keeps going up.
Yeah, I'm not.
And there is a $10 million gap between Joe Burrow as the top paid and Trevor Lawrence is tied with Joe Burrow and the 10th highest paid quarterback, which I believe is Cousins. I think Cousins and Mahomes are tied average annual value.
Yes.
So this is I think this is a bit of a check down, which is fine. Like we need to rack up some stats here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
But how about that? You talk about, well, just do what the Packers do and sit your quarterback for a half decade. And that's great. And he's ready to play because he's been watching film for 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers, but then he plays well for like 9 weeks. And now you have to make a decision. Do you give him $50 million a year?
I will be shocked if he shoots to the top of that board. Like if I'm the Packers, you ain't gonna get that much. I'll pay you well, but I mean that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean
for 9 games or the amount of time he played well, that is absolutely ludicrous.
But this is why you play quarterbacks earlier in their contracts. You can take advantage of the rookie scale deal, and now they might have to kick this thing in at $50 million a year. So
a first round pick can sit for I think a year, but. And the 5th-year option, while not cheap, is a bargain compared to what you're eventually going to have to pay that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole Packer thing of let's sit him for 3 years. It almost completely defeats the purpose of trying to build around that player because he's cheaper.
Agreed, 100%.
Write that down.
Okay, Dex.
All right, write this down. A current Vikings quarterback will be acquired or picked up by the Giants before Week 1 of this season.
Oh, bring Jaron Hall in
or Mullins
to divulge all the secrets.
Yep. We're going to get the Jake Browning effect that happened with the Bengals a few years ago. So a current Vikings quarterback will be acquired or picked up by the Giants before their Week 1 matchup, or by their Week 1 matchup.
Yeah, this is a great prediction. I love this prediction because it's totally something that if you're the Giants too, like you could frame it up as, well, we just need another quarterback body in the room because our quarterbacks suck anyway. So
write that down.
Yeah. Okay. Write this down. Sam Darnold will sign for at least $20 million a year average annual value with whoever he signs for in the next free agency cycle. So 2025 spring, most likely. So the spirit of this is he's going to play well enough to get an elevated contract, 20 plus. I'll even say this, $25+ million. I'll up it. It's not going to be a backup contract. $25+ million for Sam Darnold, average annual value on his next contract. Write it down.
Write that down.
Okay.
Now, if he throws for 2,000 yards to JJ and 1,500 yards, we're talking 40, 45, $50+ million.
Write that down.
Back to Chad.
All right. So Kwesi has had 3 off seasons, 3 draft classes, and the draft classes have been a little hit and miss, but they have been nails with the UDFAs. So write this down. They will keep on the 53 and the initial practice squad almost as many UDFAs as they do actual draft picks. And so to quantify that, it'll be the difference between those two numbers will be less than 5.
So hold on. Okay. So draft picks meaning from this year, or can you say it again?
Any Kwesi draft pick.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Any Kwesi UDFA.
Got it.
Yeah.
So going back like 3 drafts worth of Kwesi UDFAs and Kwesi draft picks.
Yep.
I like it. Which means that you basically think the 2022 draft class will be cleared out by the time the final cuts.
Yep.
Lewis Seen, see ya. Andrew Booth, see ya.
Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
Write that down.
Judley.
Okay. In 2 exhibition seasons, Kevin O'Connell has never, or he didn't have Kirk Cousins play in a game. so you can write this down. Sam Darnold will start at least one preseason game for the Vikings. He's not going to sit him. He's not going to sit him. I actually got a question about this last night on Twitter, and I had made this prediction when I sat down to do these on Monday. I think he plays. I think he starts him in at least one preseason game. I think there's not, Kirk knew the system and Kirk was older. I think with Sam, I don't know. I don't know that you want to protect him to the point of, hey, you don't have to play in a preseason game. So I think it's one probably off the record, but he does get at least one start.
Yeah, he's not in a position career-wise where it's a new team, new system, everything. I could see KOC breaking the rule.
Which means the O-line has to play more probably, but again, I don't know that that's a terrible thing.
Yeah. The Dexter.
All right, I'll make a Sam Darnold prediction as well. Write this down. Sam Darnold will start at least the first 10 games for the Vikings.
Yeah.
He will start at least the first 10 games for the Vikings.
Might be more, absolutely.
Might be more, but I'm saying it's at least 10.
Okay.
10 consecutive games.
Okay, let's go to the other side of the ball here. Let's talk about Dallas Turner for a second. So, the all-time rookie sack record, can you guys guess which rookie in NFL history tallied the most sacks his first year?
Is it a Bosa?
It is not a Bosa. It's a good guess, though.
Is it a Watt?
Joey Bosa did have 10.5, but the record is 14.5.
14.5.
Javon Curse?
Wow, look at Judd.
The freak.
Judd. Javon Curse.
That was total guess, but he was a stud.
Yeah, stud. For the Tennessee Titans in 1999. I'm not going to go that far, but as I was doing that, I was looking to see what that number was, and as I was scrolling through this on statmuse.com, I see that Keith Millard set the Vikings rookie record in 1985 with 11 sacks. 11 sacks by a rookie.
Oh, he was great.
And then Kevin Williams had 10.5 in 2003. So write this down. Wow. Dallas Turner will tie or break Keith Millard's record for most sacks by a Vikings rookie. So he'll have at least 11 sacks in 2024.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think Keith was always interior as well, and Kevin was too.
Yeah.
So their rookie records for sacks are held by two interior guys. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's not an end.
I'm trying to think of which ends, because you think about the last 15 years.
It's been
the great ends they've brought in are kind of slow cooked. Like Everson kind of comes in behind Jared Allen.
Yeah.
And then Daniil kind of came in behind Everson.
Erasmus, right? No. Kanechi, no. Like they actually tried to draft guys first round, and they just didn't work out.
John Randall.
Would it have been Dolman? Dolman's rookie year? How did he do in his rookie year?
Let's
and he was technically a linebacker, right? Didn't he get moved to defensive end in like his second year?
And it was a 4-3 linebacker. Yeah, he was a left. Well, he was 1985 was the year that they went 3-4. But he only had a half sack as a left outside linebacker.
And then they moved him, and then they went back to a 4-3 and played him outside.
Yeah.
He probably would have fared just fine if they hadn't done that.
So that's my prediction that Dallas Turner will tie or break the Vikings rookie sack mark.
Super interesting.
Write it down.
Write this down.
Okay, back to Chad for your third and final prediction.
All right, and for this one, I need to ask Judd to take off his headphones.
Oh,
you got it. Hold on a second here. I'm going to take my headphones off. I'll mute as well, but hold on.
I saw that one clip from a couple years ago going around Twitter the other day where Judd takes his headphones off, and then we're asking him, "Can you hear us?" And he's responding back to us. Yeah. He looked like he was responding there too. I don't know.
All right, so here we go. Sometime during the season, Judd will suggest or imply or question whether the Vikings starting quarterback is starting because the Wilfs have dictated it.
Oh, okay. And this can be in any, because he does columns for Sporting News too. So can this be on any platform?
On
Twitter?
any platform, yep. On any platform.
Oh, that's a great prediction. Yeah, okay. Judd,
I see no way this one doesn't happen, honestly.
It'll come back, yeah. Or it'll. I think your radar is honed. All right. He's back.
Will I do it?
It could happen right now. Let's see.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Chad, great work here. Just predictions in every different realm of Vikings football here. Since you've got this life-changing platform on Purple Daily, is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped get you to this moment?
So there's a ton of people that I could shout out right now. My wife, who's not a sports fan and makes space for me to be one. My sister, who's a giant Vikings fan and still rocks a Jerry Ball jersey.
Wow.
My fellow Vikings partner in crime, one of my best friends, Danny Gans. But what I actually want to use this time for is to make a side bet with Declan. And that is this. If any of my predictions come true, you got to see a play. I'll pick it. I'll provide the tickets. You got to go see a play. Because I know you've come out as not a theater guy.
Not a
I'm
theater
very
guy.
much
You
a
are
theater
correct.
guy.
Declan hates Duluth and theater.
I love theater. I love theater.
Dude, just
So
get
that's-
a little cocktail and a little buzz on and sit down and
Live
watch
theater
A
is
Christmas
great.
Carol.
It's absolutely
Yep.
great.
My, can I just make a request?
Yeah.
Can it not be a musical?
I was just going to say the spoiler is it'll probably be a musical.
Oh,
But if I'm wrong on all three, I will make a donation to the charity of your choice.
okay, deal.
You mean the
All right,
Declan
deal.
Foundation?
The Declan wedding.
You mean
gift
I'm going to
foundation?
buy beer on Friday Foundation run by Declan Goff?
I love that Friday tradition I have.
I know you
Right.
do.
Deal.
Amazing. Okay,
We
put
can
that
do
in
that.
the notes, Dex.
I
We have a
will put that
side
in.
bet here
Good call.
with guest
Quick
listener
question.
predictor Chad.
Your sister has a Jerry Ball jersey?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the backstory there? Because that's fantastic.
So she bought it when she was a lot younger, and she just loved the fact that his name was Ball and he was shaped like a ball.
She's not wrong.
And he was a stud, man. Jerry Ball was awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
They should
Yeah.
do they only sell Jerry Ball jerseys in Jerry Ball size? So it's like a bed sheet that you're
She's
wearing.
swimming in it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Vikings legend and Lions, right? Lions legend.
Yes,
Jerry
he was.
Ball.
Yep.
So Chad, great work here.
Great
We'll
side bet.
definitely see you again sometime.
Sounds good.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, boys.
Guest listener predictor Chad coming in here. Before we go further, it's golfing season, Declan. It's definitely
is.
golfing season right now, and the Meadows at Mystic is here for your golfing needs.
I'll tell you something I do like, golf. I love golf. Golf is great, and I like to do that at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. You can book your tee time now by going to golfthemeadows.com to learn more. Summer is finally here. We got some great weather going on. And at the Meadows at Mystic Lake, too, a phenomenal pro shop. Not like your rinky-dink, there's just like a sleeve of balls kind of pro shop. There's a great amount of apparel there. It's a great fully stocked pro shop, one of the best around, too. So when you go book that tee time, go check out that pro shop and book those tee times at golfthemeadows.com.
Dennis Kirk is here for all you Ragnars out there with over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories for motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, and more. And coming up here in just a few weeks, it's the first annual Minnesota Garage Built Bike Show powered by Dennis Kirk, Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. at Running Aces Casino and Racetrack. Dozens of custom-built motorcycles, hundreds of dollars in Dennis Kirk gift cards, local food trucks, a live DJ, all details at denniskirk.com. Okay.
Write this down.
Judd, third and final prediction.
Very simple. This will be Aaron Rodgers' final season with the Jets. It's not going to last. There's too much crap. I don't know if he's going to retire. It feels like it's not going to go well. He's just always now, he goes up and shows up on a podcast and says something inflammatory. More importantly, doesn't show up for a mandatory camp. It's just very odd. I think he's done after this season.
And
at
he's
least as a Jet.
You know, we talk about all the distractional stuff, but like at the end of the day,
Yeah, he's old.
He's 40 coming off an Achilles.
Yeah.
Remember what
exactly.
Brett Favre looked like when he was 40, not coming off an Achilles? Just foaming at the mouth on the turf at TCF Bank Stadium.
It feels like this was a relatively cool idea for 2023, and it didn't work. And now we're, desperately trying to run that back, and I don't think it's going to work out.
One of my favorite memes on the internet is when you're trying to show you're coming out of the gate super pumped about something and then it goes wrong right away, is Aaron Rodgers carrying the flag out the pomp and circumstance
Yes.
at the beginning of that Monday Night Football game. Here he goes out of the tunnel. Aaron Rodgers. The crowd's going crazy. 5 minutes later, season over.
Yep.
Okay. Dex.
Write this down.
All right, write this down. Alexander Mattison did not have a single rushing touchdown with the Vikings last year.
Incredible.
Which is just insane. So write this down. Aaron Jones will have a rushing touchdown in week 1.
Okay.
He will rush for a touchdown in week 1 after Alexander Mattison could not do it all season. Aaron Jones, Showtime money, will have a rushing touchdown in week 1.
I feel bad for all the people that got tricked into taking Alexander Madison like second round of their fantasy draft. Oh, it's a starting running back.
Oh, no. Ooh.
I think this was on the Purple Daily edition. We just didn't count it on the accountability session. But I think I made the Morgan Wallen. He'll walk out with the Vikings personnel player situation. I made
it was
that
on the
prediction.
OG edition, I think.
Was it on the
wasn't
OG? Okay, was it on the OG? I thought it was maybe on this one. But he did not. He walked out, I believe, with another rapper on Friday night's show. But he did not walk out with any Minnesota known figure on Thursday or Friday's show. Very
it was. Yep, you made that prediction on the OG edition, but good accountability. I didn't really. I'm not a Morgan Wallen guy. I mean, I'll get into country. I don't know. He's
got a couple hits that I like, but I mean, he's not my favorite.
Chris Stapleton, I love, but he didn't really put on a show. I wouldn't go back and see Chris Stapleton in concert, but I listen to his music all the time.
Boring?
I love him.
Yeah.
He just stands and delivers.
It's like, we're in a stadium,
like,
man.
yeah.
There's like 60,000 people here.
And he's got a great voice.
Can you like move from your spot?
Some folks don't have it though. Like they're just not. They're studio players more, right?
But he's not. I wouldn't say he's not a bad singer. Like there's difference between you can't sing live versus studio.
100%.
He just stands there and sings his
Yes.
songs and walks off the stage, and that's it. There's no interaction with the crowd. There's no storytelling. It's just, and here's my next hit.
Right.
Tennessee whiskey. And
But
that's
like
it.
they
And then
are,
he just keeps
yes.
going.
They're extremely talented. They're just not really geared towards shows. It's like back in the day, I had some friends that saw the Cars, and I love the Cars. Fantastic. I guess they were just stood there and did their songs, and it was boring as hell.
Yeah.
Because you want something different.
Hall & Oates, big Hall & Oates fan. My musical, I can go back. Nat King Cole is one of my. I have like weird musical tastes.
Bad live. Nat was.
But
bad
yeah, Hall
live.
& Oates should be playing like a small venue with a couple thousand people.
Sure.
And they're sitting in XL Energy Center,
Yep.
and it's just not filling up the arena. I don't know. So my third and final prediction, I'm actually gonna. I think it's gonna launch us into a talker here. So
Write this
I'm
down.
gonna give it to you in a second after I say hello to Federated Insurance. Federated Insurance is here for you business owners, and there's many of you that consume Purple Daily. We appreciate you. Federated's been helping us for a number of years as we grow Score North and Purple Daily. And so you understand as a business owner the importance of protecting your reputation, the workplace, employees, financial assets. Federated is ready to help your team by creating a custom lineup of industry-specific coverages and risk management services to help you stay at the top of your game. Contact your local Federated rep for more information today and find out more at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. And EcoFun is your summertime fun headquarters. Scooters, motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, electric bikes, and on the water, 2024 Kawasaki and Yamaha watercraft. All of these things are available at the Forest Lake location. The pavement-related fun vehicles or scooters or what have you are at the Burnsville location. So Forest Lake on the north end of the metro, Burnsville on the south end. EcoFun Motorsports, your summertime fun headquarters. If you do stop in, tell them Purple Daily or Score North sent you for a visit. So I don't know if you guys saw this a couple days ago, but here's my prediction. Write this down.
Write this down.
At some point, it's a long-term prediction. At some point before the start of the 2026 NFL season, so I'm going to go 2 years out on this, the NFL will institute a quarterback salary cap of some kind. So you know how like the NBA has max contracts for superstar players? Mm-hmm. It's not just like an open negotiation. If you reach a certain point, you are eligible for a max contract. and that's the end of the negotiation. And I'll read you part of a story here, but I think the NFL is going to put like a max contract or a quarterback salary cap structure in place sometime in the next 2 years. So apparently NFL owners have discussed putting a cap on quarterback contracts, much like the NBA has. If you're LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Steph Curry, you can't just negotiate whatever you want to. It's not just this like multi-year. It's like, okay, yep, Anthony Edwards, you're really good at basketball. And so based on where you're at in service time and based on the current cap, so you get, because you are coming off your rookie scale deal, you get a rookie max contract, which is 25% of the salary cap. So if the salary cap goes up, you still make 25% of the salary cap. And the same is true for like 20 or 25 other, whatever the number is, NBA players. And there's some steam that NFL owners want to put this in place and put some guardrails and a governor on these inflated quarterback contracts. I think the Deshaun Watson contract has sort of spooked some of the other owners. But that came out a couple days ago across a bunch of different websites. What do you think of this?
So the CBA is up in March of 2030, 31. I think when you're already trying to sneak an 18th game through before then, I think they push the Players Association around like nobody else. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but without it being part of a new CBA, when you're already trying to get an 18th game, I personally don't mind it one bit. I think it's sort of smart, but how do you get that through?
Here's what Tom Pelissero said on NFL Network, by the way, or on Rich Eisen's radio show. Mm-hmm. There's certainly been some discussion within the league among certain owners about the idea of a quarterback cap, that at some point you want quarterback numbers not to go over a certain percentage of your salary cap. To my knowledge, it hasn't really gained traction, in part because too many teams have paid their quarterbacks. But if you went to an NBA model where all of a sudden you have the max and the super max, there's really only a couple of levels the guys can get paid at. It changes the dynamics in terms of how you set yourself up salary cap wise. Players would still make the same amount of money as a whole, but quarterbacks would have structure to their contracts and kind of a cap on them.
Right.
And so if you're like a running back or a guard, you love this because, it's more money available for the non-quarterbacks.
Right.
And the positions that maybe don't make nearly as much.
Right. But if I'm the agent for a quarterback, which is the most important position in sports, I'm going to push back huge here. I think you would have to, I think that this is a doable thing. And again, I sort of like it because, Phil, we've talked about this forever. Like, when is there going to be a middle class too? Like, Jordan Love shouldn't shoot up to a top 5. It should take him some time. Like, okay, you play well again, and eventually it might get to that point where you are, on at least average annual salary, one of the top 5 QBs. But I think that this is a realistic thing in the next CBA. I think in this one, it's going to be a big enough challenge to get an 18th game, because I don't think that the owners want to wait until 2031 to get that 18th game through.
Yeah, I think in terms of priorities, an 18th game brings more money into the league. And putting a cap on quarterbacks does nothing to bring more money into the league. It just rearranges the finances of the players. But it's interesting though, in that like Jordan Love is a classic example where if you're the Packers, you have to decide right now, do we pay him potentially top 5 money at his position with guys that are in the league and have won Super Bowls, guys that are in their 30s, or do we create some friction and maybe ruin the relationship and now he forces his way out after a couple of franchise tags or whatever? I mean, that wouldn't happen for like 3 more years. So I think in theory, what you'd have here is rookie scale contract, and then there'd be like a rookie max, like in the NBA. The rookie max is 25% of the salary cap. And then there's the max contract, which is like 30% when you're, years 6 through 10. And then if you're a 10 plus year veteran, a LeBron, a Durant, the super max is, and I think Gobert might be in that bin too, or maybe he's about to be. But then you can get 35% of your team's salary cap. So you could do the same thing for quarterbacks where, okay, now if you're a Jordan Love and you're coming off your rookie scale deal, you get a lower percentage of the cap than like a Patrick Mahomes who's been in the league for 7 or 8 years. I don't know. It's something that owners are talking about. It's really interesting. And if you're a running back, you're probably happy about something like this happening.
I think it also, I mean, with the Dolphins and Tua, they're at an impasse now. Like, they're not going to pay him the money that Jared Goff has gotten, that Trevor Lawrence just got. I think that's going to create a huge amount of friction, too, between them. Because, like, are the Dolphins now going to give Tua that money? Unless he really balls out and, like, they have a deep playoff run? I don't know.
And that's the thing. It's like, but you have to make that decision. You have to. It's not like you can say, Tua, listen, I know you want $50 million like all of your contemporaries. And also, like, your numbers sort of stack up with the Jared Goffs and these other guys.
Right.
But we'd really feel comfortable giving you $32 million instead. Well, he's going to say, no.
Yeah.
Franchise me. And then the franchise tag is the average of the 5 highest paid quarterbacks. Now you're paying him $50 million anyways.
And then you do it again, and you can't afford a third time. Like that's the Kirk thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Washington.
The Commanders rightfully said, yeah, you know what, dude, we will pay you really well on a pay for play basis, you know, but we're not going to sign you long term. I think the one interesting thing about if this were to happen, here's what I think would take place though. So I don't think that suddenly other positions that don't get paid would get paid well. I think the receiver market would continue to skyrocket.
Yeah,
so like
the money has to flow somewhere.
Exactly. And I don't think it would flow to positions that we've deemed not to be as crucial as far as who my guy is there. So I think, and we're starting to see this shift already, right? It's going to Justin Jefferson. It's going to go to Jamar Chase, like the receivers now. So I think if you shifted some of the cash away from quarterbacks, I think it would go to certain positions. I think it would go
edge,
to receivers,
receiver,
edge,
defensive tackle,
corners, maybe
left tackle,
things like
corner.
that. Things like that. I would like to see the corners break the bank more because I think it's getting harder and harder to get anyone who's good to play there. Because what's the advantage? Like if you're a receiver, you get paid, you get the ball, right?
You're saying like if you're in high school,
yes.
Like,
I'm saying the rules are such now that I think it's becoming less tempting to say I want to play cornerback.
Yeah,
I can't touch a guy.
Yeah, but if you can be effective, even partially effective in one-on-one coverage, you can make obviously $15-20 million a year. So I don't know, just something interesting that's being bandied about here during the offseason. By the way, so the NBA draft is tonight. I got my little Flagrant Howls representing here t-shirt. Flagrant Howls, we're going to recap whatever the Wolves do tonight on tomorrow's podcast. So if you're a Timberwolves fan, we've got Flagrant Howls. If you're a Wild fan, we've got Judd's Hockey Show. We've got off-season movement now that the Stanley Cup Finals are over. And then the Score North Twin Show with the Twins losing last night, but still in the playoff mix. If you like any of these other Minnesota sports teams, but you're maybe just in on Purple Daily, check out our other podcasts across the Score North network. Tuesdays with Trevor Plouffe was phenomenal yesterday.
He's really good.
He went on a pretty epic rant at one point, but all right, boys, that's a wrap here on Purple Daily. Write that down. The OG edition you can find on Mackie and Judd and the Score North YouTube channel. The only show in America that has the stones to put statistics next to our predictions. We'll see you guys tomorrow.